Hello everybody. We're going to do a little guided relaxation and meditation this morning, and this session's going to go for around about 30 minutes. So you can either do this lying down, which is preferable. It helps you relax a lot more easily. The downside of lying down is that you might fall asleep because this is pretty relaxing. So choose what you'd like to do. You can either sit up or lie down as you please. The main thing really is to just get yourself into a really comfortable position so that you don't need to worry about your body. And after you do that, we're going to have our eyes closed for the whole of this session actually. And basically what it's going to be, just give you a little preview. I think most of us would have heard of the expression body, mind, spirit. So these are three of the basic aspects of our nature. And what we're going to be doing, we're kind of going to be taking like a little tour of these three aspects of our nature. We're going to be looking at our body and relaxing the body, looking at the mind, doing a little mindfulness or detached awareness of the mind, and then we'll finally go to a little meditation. So if everybody's ready, have your eyes closed, and we're just going to begin by putting our attention onto the breath. No need to worry about anything other than just put your attention on your breathing. There's just one thing you can do if you like, and that is make your breathing in through the nose. Breathing in through the nose. Most yoga breathing is done like this. But other than that, don't worry about your breath. Just put your attention onto the breath and let your breathing go naturally however it goes. What you'll be finding, just within 2 or 3 breaths, very quickly you'll find that your breathing is going to slow down automatically, and it's going to become a little deeper as well. So you'll be able to notice this as you're watching your breath. And as your breathing slows down and becomes deeper, you'll find that your body will relax more and more with each breath, and you'll find that your mind will tend to become a little calmer as well. So this is the very natural outcome of breath awareness. So if you like now, you can become aware of a couple of other things going on with the breath. You'll notice that the inward breath is revitalizing and the outward breath is relaxing. The significance of breathing in through the nose, there's a couple of reasons for it. One is that when we're breathing in through the nose, the very fine filtering system in the nasal cavity is filtering out any of the gunk that's in the air these days. And so this is generally very good for our health. The other reason is that when we're breathing in through the nose, we're much more readily absorbing prana. So if you've not heard this term prana before, prana refers to the subtle life air that pervades all of material nature, and of course it's in our body. If you know anything about Chinese medicine or acupuncture, shiatsu, you would have come across this idea that this prana flows through a system of meridians in the body. So sometimes this energy is called qi as well. Generally the Chinese systems of healing and martial arts refer to this subtle energy as qi, and in the yoga system of India it's called prana, but it's the same thing, a subtle energy. So when we're breathing in through the nose, we're more directly absorbing this prana. At the back of the nasal cavity, there's two very major meridians begin there, and so if we're breathing in through the nose, this is very beneficial for the absorbing prana. And when the prana is flowing strongly and evenly, then this results in good health. So this is just a little side point in a sense, but it's interesting to know. So we'll continue with our breathing, the inward breath, experience the revitalizing nature of the inward breath. We're not only taking in the normal breath that we all know, the oxygen, the nitrogen and so on, we're also taking in prana. So the revitalizing inward breath. The outward breath is relaxing. Let that outward breath just drag out any tension you may be carrying and let the body relax more and more with each outward breath. A nice way to see the outward breath is if you ever go to the beach and you notice the water comes in, breaks on the beach, and it always recedes back into the ocean. When it recedes, it drags the sand. You know, little kids sometimes play this game. You stand right at that point where the water's coming in and you feel the water dragging the sand out from beneath your feet. So let your outward breath be like that. Let the outward breath just drag out any tension you may be carrying. And sometimes when you do this, you can actually experience the shoulders collapsing, and it's quite a pleasant sensation. So the inward breath revitalizing, the outward breath relaxing. So we're going to just change our focus now. We'll focus, leave the breath, and we'll focus on the body. We're going to go to the body and do some body awareness and relaxation. So what we're going to do, we're going to start at the feet and gradually work our way to the top of the head, and we'll just be becoming aware of different parts of the body and relaxing them as we go. So just starting at the feet, just say to yourself mentally, not out loud, just say to yourself, I'm aware of my feet, they're a part of my body, and they're very relaxed. And then we can go a little further, go to the lower leg and the calf muscle. I'm aware of that part of my body, very relaxed. And then going a little further, we can go to the knees and the thighs. Same way. I'm aware of that part of my body, very relaxed. And we can just go to the legs now, the whole legs. I'm aware of my legs. They're a part of my body, they're very relaxed. And go to the buttocks and the pelvic area. The abdominal area and the lower back. The chest and the upper back. And the shoulders and the arms. I'm aware of my arms. They're a part of my body, very relaxed. to the, we can go up to some of the different parts of our face, our cheeks and our lips. The eyebrows and the forehead. And the top of the head. And just becoming aware of the whole body now, just like we're aware of different parts of our body. Now becoming aware of the whole body. I'm aware of my body. It's very relaxed. Becoming aware of the breath again now. The inward breath revitalizing, the outward breath relaxing. I'm aware of my body. It's very relaxed. So we're going to take our practice a little further now. So just like we're aware of our breathing, we're aware of our body. Now we're going to go to what's called mind awareness or mindfulness. And before we go into this, I'll just explain, just a few things about the mind, what we actually mean by the mind. In yoga teaching, there's an expression, or the word for the mind, or the content of the mind is the chitta, C-H-I-T-T-A, and it refers to the whole content of the mind. It includes things like our memory, different kinds of thoughts and emotions, our hopes and aspirations, our fears, our anxieties, our concerns, so many different aspects of the mind. This is called the chitta. And also in yoga practice, there's a couple of descriptions of how the mind moves. One is the monkey mind, and you can probably guess what that is. It refers to the condition where the mind is darting around very quickly, like a monkey. Usually that's going on in a panicky kind of situation. The mind is just very abruptly darting from one thing to another. So the monkey mind. The other expression is the mind stream. And this usually refers to a situation where the mind is, just drifting along very lazily, kind of like a daydreamy sort of state. So what we're going to do for a little while, we're going to try to observe our mind in this daydreamy kind of drifting condition. And when the mind is moving like that, it's called a mind stream. So we're going to be watching our mind as it's drifting along like a stream. And so there's one more little point of explanation that we'll go to before we get to the practice, and that is we're going to go to a visualization, and this visualization will make it so that our mind awareness will become much easier to do. So the visualization is that, and you can just get into this as I'm explaining it as we go. So the visualization is that you're sitting on the bank of a beautiful mountain stream. We know those kind of streams, they've got nice clear water. There may be rocks and boulders in the stream and on the shore and so on like that. And you're sitting on the bank of this stream and you're watching the water flowing by. Some parts of the water will be a little calm, some parts may be drifting along, kind of bubbling along as they go over some rocks, and in some places there may even be rapids where there's a lot of turbulence in the water, that kind of mountain stream. So just visualize yourself sitting on the bank of this mountain stream and you're watching the water flowing by. So this visualization is basically the guideline for our mind awareness. So just like you are sitting on the bank of the stream watching the water flowing by from this detached position, you're a little detached, you're separate from the stream. Similarly, we want to try and watch our mind from a detached position. We want to be a little separate from the mind and watching it as it's flowing by. So that's what this practice is going to be. And as we go along, we'll be explaining some of the quite amazing things that we can learn from this practice. And so you can just start right now if you like. I'll just mention one more thing. Actually, if you haven't done this before, you'll probably find it's not that easy to do. And that's the purpose, that's the reason for this visualization. It'll make it easier for you to actually do this practice. So just as we're doing the practice, as you're actually trying to be watching your mind in a detached way, as you need to, if you start to struggle, just remember this visualization and you'll find that it'll make your practice a little easier. So just start by thinking about what you're going to do after we finish this practice this morning. Start to think about what's going to happen later in the day, and from there just let your mind go wherever it wants to go. So maybe thinking about a special person in your life, or thinking about what's going to happen later tonight or tomorrow. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Just let your mind go wherever it wants to go, but try to be watching your mind with detachment, from this position of detachment. Just like a person sitting on the bank of the stream, they're watching the stream from a position of detachment. So, as you're watching the mind like this, you may have been able to notice that in all likelihood it wouldn't have been just stuck on one thing for very long. This is the nature of the mind. It's always drifting from one thing to another, unless we're very purposefully focusing on some particular subject. Generally the mind will tend to drift. And as you're observing this drifting, it's kind of like a pleasant experience. Just like you might remember, in your school days, there's often, many of us when we were in school, we tend to daydream when we're not that interested in what the teacher's saying. So the mind will drift like that, and it's kind of pleasant. And so we're going to just mention now how this pleasant experience will be there, actually, no matter what your mind is focused on. It doesn't really matter. If you're able to view the mind with detachment, then it doesn't really matter what's going on in the mind, what's going on. You'll still be having this pleasant experience. And the reason for this, of course, we can understand from our visualization. It's like the person sitting on the bank of the stream. It doesn't really matter what's going on in the stream, whether the water's calm or whether it's a little turbulent or whether it's really turbulent. If you're sitting on the bank, then you're not going to be affected. So similarly, this is how we can understand the great benefits of this mindfulness practice. When we learn this way of detachment, then the problems that we all have to deal with in our lives, will be greatly minimized. They'll still be there, but they won't be affecting us so much. So this is a really important point to understand about visualization or mindfulness, is that it's not meant to solve, it's not going to solve all your problems per se, but it'll make it so that their impact on you is minimized. Just like, again, we go back to the visualization. We're not going to stop the rapids, or we're not going to stop the turbulence in the water. Oftentimes this is just part of life. But by getting out of the turbulence, then we're not so bothered. So this is the key to this practice of mindfulness. So this is something we can all experience. Sometimes people think yoga is going to solve all our problems, or meditation is going to solve every problem. It will, but only in the sense that we'll be able to be detached. It's not going to get rid of the problems per se. This is something we can, think about for a little while. You just imagine, sometimes in our life we're cruising along, even we might have the most perfect situation, no problems whatsoever, everything's together. Then something can come out of the blue and hit you from out of the blue. This is the nature of life in this material dimension. We don't have any real control about what's going to happen. We may have control over our own life, but we certainly don't have control over external events that can affect us. Take for example, we all know right now the whole COVID disturbance. It's affecting everybody. So this is an important point to appreciate about mindfulness. That, even though problems are going to be there, we're not going to stop the problems, but we will be able to transcend the problem. We'll be able to see it from a different point of view, and that is where we gain relief. So sometimes we hear about the great yoga masters and the meditation masters and so on. How they're very peaceful, they're very relaxed all the time, they never have any problems. Actually, they do. Just like everybody else, anybody that lives in the material world will undergo all kinds of difficulties, not only with their own body, for example, but also, like we just mentioned, with unforeseen external situations. So everybody gets affected, but we're unaffected if we become very experienced in this way of detachment. So this is a great benefit of this mindfulness practice. We can learn to become detached from the mind. Another thing to appreciate is, as we're doing this practice, nothing has really changed in a sense. Our body is still there, our mind is still there, our life is still there, everything is still there. There's nothing to be concerned about losing anything. Everything is still there. What's happening, again, we're learning how to view everything from this different perspective, and that's the key to the relief. So we're just going to go to another slight variation of this practice, and before we're watching the mind flowing randomly, but now we're going to get a little specific. And before we go to it, I'll just mention that, whether you're actually experiencing this detachment or not in this particular session, you may gain a little actual experience of what we're talking about, a little experience of relief. But even if you haven't, I'm sure that you can actually understand the idea behind this, the theory behind it. And even that understanding will bring relief, and eventually it will bring experience. You will have the experience. So although in the beginning, especially in the beginning, it's a little bit, it might not be so easy to actually experience what we're talking about. It actually is very easy to understand, very, very easy to understand, and especially if you refer to this visualization, there's so much you can understand about mindfulness and the value, and in time you will gradually experience the effects, and this will have a great benefit to your whole life. You won't be so worried about things, even when the problems are happening. You won't be so concerned about them. But we'll go to one final little practice in this way, which may make it so that you actually can have an experience, and that is, instead of focusing on just the drifting of the mind, which we were doing before, now we'll go to a very specific focus, and we want you to now, if you can, focus on a problem in your life. And in terms of our visualization, we're now not watching the water flowing by, we're focusing on some turbulence. This turbulence in the stream can be compared to a problem. So focus on a problem, and you're all alone now, you've got your eyes closed, nobody can see what you're thinking. So try to be completely honest. Nobody knows what you're going to be focusing on except yourself. So just focus on the problem, and the bigger the problem, the better. Just bring up the absolutely biggest problem you have in your life. And again, in our visualization, we're still sitting on the bank of the stream, but now we're focusing on some rapids, some extreme turbulence, a big problem. So focus on this problem for a little while and just be watching it. We don't need to try and do anything with it. We're not trying to make it go away or pretend it's not there. Just the problem is there. It's very real, and we're focusing on that problem. And as you're focusing on the problem, you may be able to experience that although it's still there and it's still real, the effect of it is not so great. And the reason for this, of course, is that we're a little separate from it. We're a little separate. And so we're sitting on the bank of the stream, we're watching the rapids. Yes, the rapids are real, but I'm not that bothered. And the opposite case of this, of course, is when we don't have any detachment, when we're basically in the water, we're in the mind, so to speak, and we're getting tossed around by the rapids. And of course, this situation is very, not very nice. So maybe some of us can remember such a time when we've been caught up in the turbulence of the mind, our mind for one reason or another, and we're freaking out about one thing or another, and we're panicking and so on. Or we might have seen someone else in that state. They're panicking, they're freaking out about one thing or another. So this is what's going on for so many people, unfortunately. They're caught up in the turbulence of the mind. So this mindfulness is meant to make it so that we can gradually be detached and be free from this turbulence. So we're going to go now to the last part of our practice, and that is and this is basically going to hook up or connect the idea of, or the practice of meditation with mindfulness. And again, we can do this very easily by referring to our visualization. So just imagine now you're such a person, you're in the turbulence of the mind and you want some relief and you're getting tossed around. You're like a person getting tossed around the rapids of a mountain stream. So what we've been doing so far is we've been trying to make it so that we can, by our own strength, get to the shore, get to the bank, get to this place of detachment. And as we would have experienced, it's not that easy to do. So if you're in the rapids of a stream and so on, and you're trying to get to the shore and you're struggling, we all know what's needed. We need somebody to throw us a rope, a line. We cling onto that line and we can immediately experience some relief. So this rope can be compared to the practice of meditation. We hold on to the practice of meditation and we can get relief from this turbulence. And specifically, the meditation practice is mantra meditation or mantra yoga. You hold on to this spiritual sound vibration of a mantra. So we mentioned this many times, but we'll mention it again. The mantra, two parts to this word. Man means mind and tra means to deliver or to free. So the mantra, the rope, is the means to deliver a person from the turbulence of the mind. So we're going to do this practice now. We're going to hold on to this rope, so to speak. We're going to focus on a yoga mantra. We're going to do this in two different ways. Firstly, for maybe about 5 minutes, we're going to listen to this sound, Gauranga. So Gauranga is a beautiful yoga mantra, which means the golden one or the golden energy. And it's actually been playing in the background just very softly during this session. But for the next 5 minutes, we'll turn the volume up and you can just listen to the sound of this mantra. So there's a few different ways to practice mantra meditation. Sometimes we can just listen to the sound, either through a recording or to listen to others who are saying the mantra loudly, or we can actually say the mantra ourselves. So for this next 5 minutes, we'll just be listening to this sound of this beautiful mantra Gauranga. And then after that, I'm actually going to get my guitar and we'll sing another mantra for another 5 minutes or so, just to finish off our practice. So hopefully everybody's relaxed already and you can just listen to this beautiful sound, Gauranga. As usual, when we're focusing, the focus is attentive but relaxed. Just let the sound enter into your ears, let it wash over your mind and let it go even deeper and let it wash over your heart as well. Just let your entire being be flooded by the sound of this beautiful yoga mantra and just be gently embracing the sound. just going to come out of this meditation now, this particular meditation, not fully, and then we'll come to another practice where I'm going to sing a mantra with my guitar. So you may have noticed, if anyone tuned into one of our previous talks, we talked about meditation as a means to purify the mind and the heart. So what we've just done today in this session is to see meditation in a slightly different way, explained it in a slightly different way, and that is as a means to get out of the mind, so to speak. We're transcending the mind, and in all cases, the deeper meaning of meditation is that we're going to... I'll skip my guitar. In all cases, of course, the deeper meaning of meditation is that it's a way to reconnect with the divine, to tune into our spiritual nature and to tune into our natural relationship with the divine. And so this is the deeper significance of our meditation practice. So we're going to do this mantra again. Some of you may know it: Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana. And so I'm going to sing this mantra for just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And if you like, you can listen if you like, or you can sing along. Again, the focus with all meditation is attentive but relaxed. And again, if your mind wanders away somewhere, just gently bring it back to the sound and just try to have a nice experience. Let the mantra enter into your ears and just let it wash over your mind and your heart. Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana. 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 Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana, 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 Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana. Okay, so we're just about come to the end of this practice. Actually, we have. That's the end of the practice. I hope you had a nice time with it. If there's anything to take away, try to take away with you this idea of detachment. It's a very wonderful yoga practice of detachment. And if you ever, forget or wonder about what detachment's all about, what mindfulness is all about, then just remember, all you need to do is remember this idea of sitting on the bank of a stream, and so much you'll remember, and you can understand so much from this very simple visualization. And of course you can also understand meditation, the idea of the rope, etc., getting help from the rope. And so that's it, everybody. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste, it's been so great having you here today. If you've enjoyed the class, please comment below, hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss a class. See you next time.